Once we identified the resources that we need for the project, we can start to allocate them or assign them to the specific activities. We'll look at the principles of allocating resources and two ways how to represent this. The first one is the resources allocation matrix, or the RAM, and the second is the RACI. Once we have the resources allocated on the project and the activities, we can also define what we call a resources breakdown structure, what we will see at the end of this session. Let's have a look at the principles of allocating resources to activities. All people who are allocated to a specific activity or activities should have the necessary skills to do the work. In principle, the person with the most experience, I refer here to knowledge and not age or years of working in the company, should be in charge of that activity. People with less experience will learn on the job. Subject matter experts can be added when the needed experiences are not available or in case that we have special issues to resolve. For material resources, the resource that fits the purpose the best is allocated to the activity. There may be different material activity or resources that can be used, but we have to make a selection looking at the complexity and the totality of the project. The first table we can use to allocate resources to activities is the resources allocation matrix, or RAM. We have the same people, but now on the right hand side we have the different activities. I call them A to I. When we use a RAM, we have to put a legend, and the legend describes what the function of the person is. In our case, P is primary, or the leader of the task or the activity. S is in support of the primary. N is the person or group or stakeholder to notify. A is the approver, and SME is the subject matter expert. You see a filled out example for an imaginary project, but what is very important is that every activity should have one and only one primary resource. There is only one leader for each task. In case you would have more than one leader or primary resource, this would be an error. The work would be confused and there would be discussions between the two people who are so-called to be in charge. Another format that is mostly used in PMBOK and by the PMI is the RACI format. In this format, you don't need a legend because R is always defined as responsible, A is accountable, C is consult, and I is inform. The same like the previous example, there can only be one and only one person accountable for a specific task. When you would see more than one A, except for the name of the activities in the columns, that would be a mistake. Once we have all the resources allocated, we can build what we call a resources breakdown structure. It's like the organizational chart related to resources of the project. We can split up in people, materials, and equipment. Here you see an example. Once you're always working on the same type of projects, you may have a template for this resources breakdown structure. So we added the people to the activities. We organized the resources with the resources breakdown structure. Let's go to the next item in the next session. See you there.